Masonry. So masonry, we have blocks, we have mortar, grout, reinforcement, accessories. We may need to fill in the concrete blocks inside, depending on the specifications that they have on the drawings or on the specification list. We may have windows also included, so we need to have special requirements around those windows. Again, we need people, labor, we need materials, and we need equipment to put together those masonry walls. In the equipment, one of the typical equipment that we will need is the use of scaffolds. These are metallic structures that go around the building structure that are used by the masons to put the blocks together and create the wall. These structures will be removed after the building is done, so you need them to do the work, but you don't leave them with the owners. Those are indirect costs. Okay? There are different types of masonry walls. Some of those are different ratings for fire resistance, so you may need to have a fire retardant inside the wall structure, or you may have insulation for thermal purposes inside the wall. So you really need to look carefully at the drawings and specifications to see what type of walls you need to account for. You may have brick. You may have the common one is the concrete masonry unit, one concrete block basically. You could have also stone. You can have glass blocks. You can have different type of things that give a different finish and a different look to the wall. So you have to really carefully look at the drawings and specifications. You may have a solid core type of wall or a hollow core that gets filled in. So again, look very carefully at the specifications. The structural weight for the concrete may be different with different walls, if you have interior walls or exterior walls. So you have to look into those details and not put all the walls into the same package, because they may have different specifications and therefore different costs. Bricks, the sizes, the colors, the finishes varies incredible. I mean, there is a lot of different varieties of a brick. So you have to make sure that you're using the correct one for the project or for the work that you have at hand. Masonry veneer, this normally covers the work that you have behind the structural area. So it has a more pleasant finish to the eye. So in that case, you have the two different structures, and you have to be careful of what type of a finish it has or what type of veneer it has. In this case, we have a stud system with drywall and then blocks on the front. That's used a lot up north. Here in Florida, we're more accustomed to this type of assembly, where we have concrete blocks with another veneer in front. So again, you have to look carefully what type of veneer you have. Different types will have different costs. You may estimate the number of blocks that you need on different strategies. Let me see if I have that here. Since I jumped to that. No, I don't think I have that listed here. Well, that's strange. I thought I had it in these slides. Well, I was going to talk about how to count the number of bricks that we need. There are two ways to do that. One is by estimating the number of rows and columns. So we multiply rows and columns, give us the number, or we look at a table that has how many bricks you have per 100 square feet of wall. So you have different type of CMU also. You may have different type of faces, different finishes, different colors, different width, sizes. So you need to be very careful in what the specification calls for, so you don't estimate the wrong type of brick. There is also different type of patterns. How do you arrange these blocks in patterns? Including different reinforcing. So you may have reinforcing horizontal, you may have vertical reinforcing, you may have reinforcing along openings. So you have to really look carefully at what type of block you have and what type of reinforcing you have in order to estimate the cost properly. Here are some examples of basic concrete blocks. So we have the typical 8 by 8 by 16 inch concrete block. It's sold here at the Home Depot on 120. I'm sure that you can find almost everywhere else lower price, but you know, I'm not too concerned about what the actual cost of the item is. I'm concerned about the process that you follow to get to the cost. So if you find the cost of a brick at $1.20 in Home Depot, you put that into your cost estimate. And then in your sources, on the references, you say, I'm looking at Home Depot for the cost of that. He may have a company that supplies concrete for their business, so he will list the cost of 60 cents per block. And he will have a different cost, he will have a different source, he will have a different reference. I won't say that your estimate is better than his because it's more accurate. No, I don't care about that. I care about how do you get to that number, and do you have a way to show me where that number comes from. Okay? Then there is a stone, normally used for finishes, so it looks pleasant to the eye. We have mortar to put together all the masonry units together. So this is sort of like a concrete that you mix in and put between the different CMU units. We have grout to fill the cavities inside the concrete blocks. We have steel reinforcement to give additional strength to those walls. So the reinforcement, again, it can be horizontal. They sell these type of pre-welded ladders that you put into the different rows of brick to give that wall strength. You may have vertical reinforcement that goes through the holes in the concrete blocks to give strength, horizontal strength, or strength for wind. When you have openings, you may have additional reinforcement along that opening. You may have special type of bricks that are U-shaped, that are used to accommodate the rebars that go horizontal in the wall. So, you know, you need to take those into consideration and estimate them separately. For our course project, we won't go into that level of detail. We will estimate the size of the wall, and then we will look at the books, what is the cost per square feet, and that normally includes those type of elements. And you will say, well, you know, different projects have different number of windows and different number of openings, which requires different reinforcements. So how do we know? We don't. If you're working in your project in the industry, you will want to be very specific about how many openings you have and what type of reinforcement you have. But for the course project, we're not going to get into that detail. We're just going to take the average that comes from the books and we'll move forward. There could be accessories also, lintel, seal blocks, keystones, you know, type of insulations that you will need, foams or mineral in loose forms that goes inside the holes for these bricks. So that you have to really carefully look at the way the masonry wall is going to be assembled to understand exactly what are the requirements. Here's what I was going to, before, estimating the number of bricks. You can do a mathematical formula. You take the area of the wall, you divide that by the effective area of the brick, which is the area of the brick plus the separation that we have between one block and the other one. So you add the width of that separation, the height of that separation, and you come up with the effective area for the block. So another way is by looking at tables. They give you a factor per square feet. So you get an idea of how many blocks you need depending on the size per square feet of wall. Mortar and grout tables, here it tells you, how much mortar you need per each one of these items. Rebar, you basically measure the length of the rebar, and then at the end calculate the weight, because it's sold by weight. What else? Equipment, very similar to the concrete type of equipment. We need scaffolds, we need buckets, we need, all those things. Filling in the cells for different type of fire retardant. In the drawings, it will give you notes and keys of what type of wall you have on different areas of the building. So you need to make sure that you understand which one of those you're using, and then create the conditions in on-screen takeoff to do the particular type of wall that you want. This goes down into the examples of the project. So what I will do is I'm going to stop here